All right, back to the phones we go. Steven is on the line in Billings, Montana. Steven, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. It's an honor to talk to you.
Well, the honor's all mine, Steven. What's up?
Well, I feel like you were just preaching to me with what you were saying about going from no to go.
Hey.
My question is, my wife got hired at the beginning of December at a job that was in her sweet spot, not necessarily her dream job, but in the industry that she wants to end up in.
Yeah.
And just recently this week on her way to work, her boss called her and just said, don't come into work anymore. We don't really want you here anymore. No prior communication.
Gosh. Oh my
no
gosh.
information given before this phone call. So she tried to keep the conversation going and just ask, what happened? Is there anything I can change before we make this final? And the conversation turned really nasty, really fast on his end.
Wow.
So to make it clear to him, she just said, if that's the kind of person you are, then I resign and, have a good life.
Good for her.
But now she's dealing with a lot of hurt and embarrassment. And, she just recently got diagnosed with some depression and general anxiety as well.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you, as a husband, I guess man to man, if you have any advice for me in ways that I can help her move past this sense of finality and this kind of no and move into a growth mindset after this.
Well, I would tell you that at some point soon, I would go to a really nice dinner after having maybe gotten her some flowers, maybe send her to the day spa and just let her kind of hurt and begin the process of healing. And I really believe so much in the power of giving somebody the opposite of what they've just experienced. So she's just experienced betrayal, rejection. She doesn't feel like she's worth anything. It's just straight up nasty what this guy did.
Yeah.
And so I would lavish her. I would make sure friends and people that she loves that are around her, and it's okay for a husband to go behind a wife's back. In fact, he ought to in this situation. Be like, hey, she needs you right now. Would you do this for me? And so let's get her in a place where she's feeling very loved and valuable. Okay, that's step one. Step two is I'd go to dinner with her as a part of all this and just give her your version of what I just said. Okay, but only in the emotion of saying, I understand what you're feeling. I don't feel it, but I'm mad too. But I'm mad as your protector. I want to punch the guy in the nose, but I know you're hurting. But here's what I want you to know. This is going to end up being really good for us. I know it's not good now, but it's going to be good. All right. Now, the other thing is, if she's dealt with some depression, has she seen a professional in this process?
Yes, we've just begun that process,
Great.
Seeing a therapist and whatnot.
Let me tell you something. That's huge, because what she doesn't need right now is to try to handle this on her own, right? Because I can tell you right now, I know people that this has happened to. This is so weird, Stephen. I know somebody that is very dear to me that this happened Friday. Hey, bro, I'm telling you, it's almost the exact same scenario. Somebody that I love deeply is going through this right now. So this is so crazy fresh for me. This is nuts. And I'm telling you that this is a strong, positive person who's not dealt with what your wife has dealt with, which depression's a real thing. Anxiety is a real enemy. So I love that she's seeing a professional, and I would tell you to encourage her and do whatever it takes. If you got to go work a second job yourself, that you need to support her there, and let's get her the tools to handle those enemies. And then the rest of it she'll get through. But we need to support her there. And then I think it's this. Let's retreat to the why. Get back to her why. Get her listening to the show. What's her why? What's her sweet spot? Walk through it with her. What do you do best, babe? And what do you love to do most? And then what are the results that matter most? And let's take this time of bitter disappointment and hurt and allow it to let us reset. And allow this to be actually the thing that kicked us out of the nest, that propels us forward. And I think that's it. I think you do those three things, she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine.
That's great.
And you're a good man. You're a good man. And let me tell you something. I'm proud of you for making this call. I'm proud of you for stepping up right now, because your wife needs to just hurt. And I learned this early on in marriage, and I'll just be very intimate with the audience for a moment. My wife, Stacy, and I struggled for 7 years with infertility, and it was brutally difficult. We also had some difficulties with the process of getting into adoption, which then changed our lives. But I'm going to tell you, it was brutal. And as a dude, Stephen, let me just tell you, our propensity is to try to fix everything with words. That's just what guys do. Number one, we just want to fix everything. And sometimes, guys, you trying to fix something actually stirs it up and makes it worse. So in this situation, Stephen, please learn from me. One of the greatest things that I ever learned in that very painful journey for my wife and I is that the most valuable thing I could do for Stacy most of the time when she was really going through a tough time was just to say, I know, and shut up and hug her and hold her and love on her and listen to her. And I think that's the most important thing you can do right now.